Hey everyone, Raider here. Hope you're all doing great and having a fantastic day. So I've got the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic in 47 millimeters here on my wrist, and I've got the Watch 5 Pro sitting here on the table. You know, first off, I will say I really like this watch a lot. I don't want to spend the whole video bashing on this watch. The screen is a little bit better than last year's model, which I like a lot. The rotating bezel is awesome. Haven't had a single flaw with it. It's been working great. It's my first year having the rotating bezel and I like it a lot. I like that it's also a little bit more low profile on the wrist. It definitely feels better on your wrist than last year's model. But unfortunately, and the topic of today's video, is there are 3 cons with this watch that I'm really not liking too much after using it for almost a week. So the first thing I want to talk about is battery life. So on the Watch 5 Pro from last year, I was pretty much getting a solid 4 days. So pretty much every hour would go by, I'd lose 1% on the battery, which was sweet because I could just take this off while I'm taking a shower and top it off, and then I never really had to worry about like fully charging this watch. However, with the Watch 6 Classic, I'm only getting about 2 days battery life. It's basically been cut in half. And a special shout out to All-Star Space for bringing this to everyone's attention. And I just want to talk about it a little bit as well because he's totally right. The problem we're having with this year's model, let me pull it up real quick, is if we open up the wearable app and we go into device and battery care, and we go ahead and take a look at our usage, what you're going to see is Google Play Services up here on top. Now let me throw a picture up on the screen from last year's model. You'll see Google Play Services isn't even mentioned at all. And this is from my girl's regular Watch 5, not my Watch 5 Pro, because I've got this one turned off. But it's same on the Watch 5 Pro. You won't even see it mentioned. However, for some reason, Google Play Services has taken up a big chunk of change. Let me put another pic up on the screen. Look at that, it's showing like 8 point something percent there. For me, the most I've seen it so far take up is 14.8%, which is a ridiculously high number. I've never seen Google Play Services take up this much battery. So I'm hoping we get an update on this soon. And that leads us into my second con with this one. So I'm not a big fan of these new watch bands here, at least the regular one that comes with it. This is a sport band. And the reason I say that is because now we have to charge it all the time. You know, you're going to have to charge this like every other day. And folks that have the LTE version are complaining that they're even getting less battery life. I've seen a couple people mention like 10 to 11 hours battery life. I don't know if there's truth in that or not, but it's definitely concerning on how much battery drain is happening on these new watches. So the thing that kind of sucks is this new band here. Let me take this watch off real quick. It's super soft. You see this, how I can just move it all around like this? It's a super soft band, whereas on last year's Watch 5 Pro, it's more stiff, it's more rigid. And at first I liked this a lot, the new one a lot, because it felt better on the wrist and all. But the problem I'm noticing in this first week or so is that this is kind of a pain in the rear to get on all the time when you're done charging it, because it's so flimsy like this, it doesn't want to stick underneath in your wrist. Like it takes a couple goes at it. And I'm not trying to make a big deal about it. It's not really that big an issue, but it's a little bit frustrating when you compare it to last year's bands that are a little bit thicker. So I'm still going to probably go through with the trade-in, you know, send in my Watch 5 Pro, but I'm probably going to swap out the bands before I do. I'm going to check with Samsung on that because I definitely prefer last year's bands better when it comes to actually putting the watch on and off. All right, my third and final complaint, which I'm sure can be fixed in an upcoming update, is that I can't get the heart rate monitor to work properly. So let me put a little video on the screen of what it's supposed to look like. You know, you're supposed to tap it to start, and then it reads your heart for about 15 seconds, reads your heart rate, I should say, and then it wraps things up. You know, no big deal. That's how it's always worked on all the Galaxy watches. So I have all the permissions enabled for the heart rate monitoring and the health tracking, all the usual stuff like I do on all my Galaxy watches. But when we go here to check our heart rate, let me show you what's happening, at least on mine anyways. Hopefully it's not doing it on your device. Let me get to it here. Let's go ahead and hit measure. Hopefully I'm in view. It's just gonna sit there. Sometimes this goes on for about 3 minutes or so. Oh, this time it only went for a few seconds and it stopped. You'll see here I have no notifications sitting here on my phone. Nothing pops up telling me there's a problem or anything. But for some reason I can't get a proper heart rate measurement. I also tried taking an ECG because I noticed in the heart rate monitoring app, it asks you to take an ECG one time first. So I went ahead and did that and it said it couldn't get inaccurate results. Look, here it is up on my screen. Hopefully you can read that. the ECG recording could not be analyzed. If you get the results, blah, 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 you know, look here on how to use. I already know how to use the ECG monitor. I use it on my Watch 5 Pro all the time. I don't need to watch a how-to guide again. So it's like all of a sudden these heart rate monitoring functions aren't really working. So I'm sure an update's going to come out that's going to address these, but I do want to bring it to your attention because I know that's a big deal for a lot of you, you know, tracking your heart rate and all that. So let me know if you have the Watch 6 Classic. Again, this is a 47 millimeter. Let me know if you're having any of these problems down in the comments as well. The battery life is really killing it for me. It makes me almost want to return this watch and stick with last year's. I'm just keeping it real with you because I really like this long battery life. It's been so nice this past year, not even having to worry about this watch. And now I'm back into the same boat as I was with the Galaxy Watch 4, which is I'm going to have to worry about topping this thing off every other day. Not a huge fan of that. I like the watch a lot. Just those three little things that are really kind of perturbing me about it. If you have any questions or comments about today's video, please drop them down in the comments section below. I really do appreciate your time. And as always, thanks for watching.